got huge tax breaks, tax subsidies. So if you're a friend of Obama, he gives you a big wet kiss and some free tax abatements. If you're not a friend of Obama, then go stand in the food line or a soup kitchen and pound sand, because he's not interested.
Max Keiser touches Eric Greitzer on what seems to be something that's really being forgotten, and that's the origin of this entire debate, is to reduce these swollen federal deficits. I mean, didn't this deal sort of kick this can down the road, so to speak, to a later date? I mean, what kind of deal is that if it's not tackling the major issue?
Well, yes, it does delay the actual response to the real crisis, but I think it also mischaracterizes what the real crisis is. There's two ways of thinking about this. Either we're talking about a debt and a fiscal problem, or we're talking about a deeper fundamental problem with the economy in the United States. And I would, of course, believe in the latter. I think the real problems are those of poverty, those of social injustice, and other issues which are not actually addressed by any so-called fiscal cliff, which itself is a manufactured problem. But yes, it's true that this was really kicking the can down the road and not terribly far. What we're looking at is another fight shaping up for about 8 to 10 weeks from now, in which we're going to see the cuts that we did not see in this deal. There was much fear around Washington and around the country that in fact we would see savage cuts to the social safety net, to Social Security, Medicare, and other necessary social programs. And though we didn't see all of those cuts in this deal, it's likely that we will, because we have another manufactured crisis which has been set up, that being the debt ceiling and then the question of sequestration. And the sequestration issue, which is going to come up very soon, this is going to be where the Republicans and their Democratic co-conspirators are going to be able to gouge those economic rights that the American people have enjoyed for a generation or more. So that's really the issue here. It's not so much about the deal, and as Mr. Keiser was correct in pointing out, it is subsidies and bailouts and further giveaways to Obama's friends at Goldman Sachs, at J.P. Morgan, in Hollywood, and elsewhere. And I would also mention that there are many more sweet deals in there, such as extending the loopholes for offshore corporations, minimizing the capital gains tax, and so forth. So this is a deal that is loaded with pitfalls, loaded with problems, and of course another fake solution to a manufactured crisis in the United States.
Well, the word I picked up there, Roland Amari, from our guest Eric Greitzer, is manufactured crisis, manufactured debt. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with him, and I have to agree with Max. And basically, the crisis was manufactured. It was manufactured by Ben Bernanke. He's the first to coin the term. Look, our problems are deeper than this. They need to be addressed. The problems of spending, the problems of amassing more and more government debt exceed the fiscal cliff issue. It is somewhat of a smokescreen, but yes, in 2 months we will have to start facing the sequestering, the mandated cuts.
Max Keiser, let's talk about this spending. I mean, it's really not that complicated when you think about it in some respects, that pretty much isn't this because of Obama's spending? I mean, he's known to be the biggest U.S. president in terms of the biggest spender, $1 trillion again for the year, adding to the debt. And what is going to have Obama used as a platform in order for him to justify the spending, which seems like that's not something he's going to budge on?
Well, Obama spends, for every tax dollar that's raised in America, Obama spends about $1.40. And that number keeps rising. And the country is diving into this bottomless pit of debt. And of course, the one thing that they won't cut, the biggest expense, is the Pentagon. And this is going to be a big problem now, because China and Japan look like they're going to go on a war footing. And of course, America is allied with Japan, but China is the country that is financing America's debt. In other words, when America takes on more debt than they do able to collect in taxes, the difference is paid for and financed by China.